7 to 9 p.m. So please spread the word. Tell everybody you know and ask them if they're down with the Kings. We're being also heard via the Spreaker app. It's available via any mobile device that you're using. You can follow us. Search us first, Sports Kings Live, then follow us, and then click the little thought bubble icon, and then you guys can jump in the conversation right now. This last half hour has been dedicated to the draft and bringing you some of the picks live. We're also at Sports Kings Live via Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and Tumblr, and the email is sportskingslive@gmail.com. On the other side, we've already done on this day, so on the other side of a break, we'll get into some NFL stuff as well and still continue to bring you some NFL draft talk in the middle. We'll try to juggle that thing the way we did for the NFL draft. We'll be right back.
If you're struggling to pay the mortgage, Making Home Affordable is a free government resource that can make it easier. Call 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
It's the Sports Kings. Sports Kings.
He might fall off the wagon in the next 10 minutes.
Rob Calloway.
It's about bringing talent. It's not about all the flash and glitz and glam.
Not your average sports talk show. The Sports Kings.
This is NFL legend, Work Done.
This your boy D. Howard, a.k.a. Superman.
I'm Jerome Bettis, the bus.
It's Cam Newton. Holla at your boy already.
This is Hank Aaron, and I'm down with the King.
Tell a friend, Kings is back.
What's happening? Are they booing this dude? Are they booing the Spanish kid? Oh, New York fans are the worst. So, during the intro, apparently the New York Knicks have taken Kristaps Porzingis, the kid out of Spain. Latvia is the name of his team. He's a big, tall, rangy shooting. He's the definition of what they call now a stretch four. And I couldn't hear what was going on because obviously the intro was playing, but I could see like kids, like 7-year-old kids, like burying their hands in their heads, and dudes like booing and thumbs down in the pick. Apparently, they had the same thought that I had, that the Moutier kid should have been the pick. This is pretty awesome, dude. Like, these dudes are nut jobs. And then this dude ended up being like a baller, and then all to be forgotten. They're the worst, dude. Like, how do you know to boo this kid now? I guess not booing him, booing the pick, booing what they felt. Booing because they felt like the Knicks were giving an opportunity to choose from a couple of good guys that probably the fans knew more than this kid. And, I don't know. By the way, this is Sports Kings Live. I'm Big Mike. The other Sports King, Rob Calloway, has gotten himself caught up at a prior engagement. Yes, Mark, you're right. CP time, a bunch of
niggas. N-E-G-U-S, niggas.
Yep, everywhere. Causing my man to miss the show tonight. We're also on the Spreaker app. You guys go ahead and download it. Search us, Sports Kings Live, then follow the show, and then click the little bubble, the little thought bubble. And you guys can chat with us as well. You guys can also follow us and like us and all those things at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at Sports Kings Live. And email us at sportskingslive@gmail.com. We have a GoFundMe page too. I don't remember the actual address. I need to write it on this little sheet here because I'm like a machine, and not in a good way, in a bad way. Like, if it's not written down, the memory is just not all that reliable. Okay, so now that we wait on the fifth pick, which is the Orlando Magic, I can get into some other stuff, and hopefully I can catch these picks as they come. If not, you guys are screwed. Nah, it's not like you don't have TV. Okay, where am I at here? I talked about this Boogie Cousins deal, and what I wrote on my notes is that it's virtually dead. To me, it's dead now. It's actually dead. Here was something that was brought to my attention here via PeachtreeHoops.com. The Atlanta Hawks, right here in my fair city of Atlanta, are said to be one of the many teams. Let me make sure I preface it by saying that. One of the many teams that LaMarcus Aldridge, baller, by the way, four-man who can score on anyone at any time, played the majority of last season with a screwed up finger, man. He should have gotten surgery done on it, but fought through the pain for his team, and they got him to the playoffs, but they just ran into a buzzsaw when they got there. It was really no competition. Once all the other injuries that they had piled up, there was no way that they were going to compete. This is via Mark Stein and Chris Broussard of ESPN. The list of teams, brace yourself, Hawks fans, the San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Lakers, all right, maybe a shot. The New York Knicks, definite shot over them. The Dallas Mavericks. Problem with that is that's where he's from. Now, that can go two ways. That can go one of two ways. We've seen guys, resist, quote unquote, going home. Dwight Howard, Josh Smith couldn't get out of here fast enough. He played the majority of his career, his entire early career here in Atlanta, being the city where he's from. We saw how that worked out as well. LeBron leaving Cleveland, now going back to Cleveland in a better situation. So there are two sides to that maybe the Dallas thing works out, including the fact that Dirk said he's willing to two things, take a pay cut and come off the bench. Look at Dirk trying to extend the old career and then not only extend the career but stay in one place, because that's the hardest part about it. Like you see guys like Paul Pierce extending the career, but now Paul Pierce has played for he's going to he started in Boston, then from there to New Jersey / Brooklyn. I don't know if he played in New Jersey. I think he only played in Brooklyn. And now with the Bullets, showing my age, the Wizards, and possibly now ending up with the L.A. Clippers is what's been rumored. Or I heard yesterday he may end up back in Boston, which would be a wild thing. Something with Kevin Love, and was it LaMarcus Aldridge as a big three? Don't quote me on that. I don't think I'm remembering the third person correctly. This article goes on to say that Atlanta is also on Aldridge's list, as he believes he could potentially form a strong front court tandem with Hawks center Al Horford. And I agree. I think he'd be a definite. Before I say definite, he'd be an upgrade on the youth side. He's a little bit younger than Paul Millsap. I'm sorry, I was reading Paul Millsap's age. I think Paul Millsap is 29. And Aldridge appears to be a step up as the 29-year-old just completed in a season which he averaged right. So, yeah, Paul Millsap's a little bit on the other side of, on the bad side, I guess you can say, of Father Time. And LaMarcus Aldridge is still an up-and-coming player. So if you're looking for somebody to upgrade your stuff at the four, and Hawks fans, if you're worried about, okay, we max LaMarcus Aldridge out, what are we going to do about DeMar Carroll? I think you still have the opportunity, if you kind of lean up against that salary ceiling a little bit, that cap, you maybe go over it a little bit and pay a little bit of luxury tax. You can have DeMar Carroll and LaMarcus Aldridge, but then you have to worry about in another year about Al Horford. So therein lies a kind of a quandary for one coach / president Budenholzer. And then this came out. This happened right before we actually came on. Well, I actually came on the show where I guess Chris Broussard is saying that there's a possibility here that with all this stuff like surrounding DeMarcus Cousins in Sacramento, George Karl may be out. The report is that the owner is just mad tired. He don't care about this. He doesn't want to entertain anything that involves trading DeMarcus Cousins. Here is the commissioner once again.
With the 5th pick in the 2015 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Mario Hezonja from Dubrovnik, Croatia.
Oh, yeah, it's getting weird.
He last played for FC Barcelona in Spain.
It's getting weird.
So unlike the Knicks fans, of course, they're more of them, a couple of men.
Yeah, it's getting weird, dude. Hezonja is his name, from Croatia. Yeah, I can get back to my Boogie Cousins point because I know nothing of this kid. I'm watching the highlights as probably you are right now. Yeah, I told you guys yesterday, once we get once we get to the point where they're probably past like 4, and then the names in the country start getting more and more exotic. So and so from the Congo, and this person from Croatia, and I'm out. I'm good. I have no insight to add to whoever this kid is. Hazanja is going to the Orlando Magic to play with Elfrid Payton and Victor Oladipo and Scott Skiles, his coach. All right, so back to the Boogie Cousins thing. Like George Karl, I talked about it yesterday. He's had problems with star players in the past, and while people will still try to hang that he's won a lot of games on him, yeah, but we still are looking at 0 championships, and inevitably, George Karl is the guy you hire to fire. Which is the case with most coaches, but he's a guy who's gonna cap out at some point because he wants to be, let's call him the Chip Kelly of basketball. He wants to be the show. He wants his system to be the thing that dominates the game, which would make him a perfect college coach, to be honest with you. Other than maybe his temperament and the drive it takes to be, the difference in the drive it takes to be a head basketball coach of an NBA team versus a team that's gonna play 82 games versus a team that's gonna play 30-something games. It's a little bit different. You got to worry about classes and eligibility and all this kind of foolishness. So that would be probably the line of demarcation. But the way he wants his system to be, the star of the show, yeah, that's exactly what Mike Krzyzewski is, Coach K is. So that'll be very, very interesting to see if this dude gets fired after a couple months. Mind you, he's on a 3-year guaranteed deal. So he's got 3 years. DeMarcus Cousins has 3 years left on his deal. So it's like an old Western standoff, or what they call it, a Mexican standoff. Is that racist if I say that? A Mexican standoff? Whatever. It's been said now. Shout out to our brothers from south of the border. Hope you guys make it over safely. Not back. I mean, over to this side. Speaking of Coach K, yeah, weirdness. Weirdness. Apparently, he's in the business of catfishing his players. So the reports were that he signs up with fake Twitter accounts to be able to monitor his players' Twitter activities. Yeah, that sounds weird to me. You know what I mean? It's like, the bigger issue, is there any privacy in the world? Or not only privacy, but at what point did we just start bashing people for private thoughts, even if they make them public? You know what I mean? Like on a format like Twitter, if I say something that, maybe, certain people don't agree with, if I say it and I put it on Twitter, people will be stupid enough to use that as a barometer as to whether I'm justified in saying that or not. You know what I mean? Like, look at how many people jumped on him on Twitter. Of course he was wrong. No, all that means is that idiots have enough time to worry about something that somebody they don't even know said and make a big deal of it. Perfect example. I'll get to this other catfishing story in a second, but this kind of just leads me into the situation. What is this guy's name? Andy Benoit, I think his name is. I think it's how you pronounce it. He's a writer for SI. And I meant to bring this up the other day, and I'm glad I didn't because some humor came out of it, to be honest with you. And some serious stuff came out of it as well. He tweeted some stuff the other day about women's sports. He is a writer for the Monday Morning Quarterback, Peter King's deal with Sports Illustrated. He says his Twitter is at Andy_Benoit, Benoit. Not women's soccer, ... Women's sports is, in general, is not worth watching. And then somebody, I guess, replied to him and says, and here some people, Andy Benoit, argue that women's soccer isn't worth watching. And he puts a vine of something good that happened in this long-ass game. You know what I mean? Like soccer